Hi, I'm Mike Freemire. I was a client for years. When I was running multiple businesses and such, I was a client, and the world of investing was kind of defined for me from the outside looking in. So, being a client, I would find myself in a position where I thought, well, this is the way it must be. This is how this business of investing must happen. And so I went off and I continued to do my business, which was not investing. It certainly has been my avocation for multiple decades, but it wasn't my vocation until the last decade. And here's what I found. I found that just because the industry is defined as I saw it, doesn't mean that that's what it needs to be for every investor. And so that's one of the reasons why I created my business, and frankly why we started with 0, 0, and 0, and it's much more attractive today, I can assure you. It's attractive from a client standpoint in that this business doesn't need to be defined by what it was. It needs to be defined in a fiduciary relationship where we actually know one another. It needs to be defined as understanding your goals and having a conversation that's different than just the investment. So I have people say, well, what about you that's really different? Or, I manage my own money. Can you really do any better? And I often say, well, it depends on who you are and how detached you can become from your money when volatility happens, and how detached you can become from your goals when volatility happens, and you're not looking at the long term. Because let's face it, we all get hit with all sorts of, this is our problem today, the problem du jour, as they say. And the reality of it is, if we keep our perspective in the long term, if we have our understanding of what we're trying to accomplish long term, not in terms of the money, but how is that money going to change our lifestyle? How is it going to affect my wife or my husband? How is it going to affect my children? How is it going to affect those people that I want to provide money to, who carry out a mission much greater than what I can as an individual? Those are the questions we have. And those are the answers which we try to get to, because having an extra Benjamin or two in your pocket is not necessarily satisfying. Understanding that Benjamin is getting you to where you want to be is satisfying. And so it's a matter of emotional intelligence and emotional competence. And so when people say, well, gosh, I have that $500,000 or whatever that number is, and I think I can do this myself, my question for them is that true? Can you really avoid the din of distraction on a daily basis and make long-term decisions and have somebody right there helping you through the process and frankly, or walking through life together? Oftentimes it's either the husband or the wife who is the money person in the family. The other person of the family asks questions, and then there's all sorts of defensive or offensive, or however you want to characterize it, conversations. And is that really where you want to go? Defending why you bought this and didn't buy that. How come you didn't see this stock, or you saw that stock but this one did better? Or why did you buy that? Because right after you bought it, it went down. That's really not a conversation you want to have over dinner. Much rather be in a position where you say, well, I trusted that guy who was a client for years, and overall this is what's happening, and these are our goals, and this is why we do what we do. So when I think through the notion of why I first got into this business and how this business has evolved and changed, frankly, in my little corner of the world, okay, and I'm not this huge broker dealer or huge wealth management practice where I can tell you that we manage billions of dollars. I'm not. But I'm that guy who's walked in your shoes. I'm that guy who's had those conversations of why did I pick this versus that over the dinner table? Or how do we pay for our children's education? Or how do we structure a business in order to maximize and be most efficient and be able to do that which the business would do? There are a lot of conversations that I have that have very, very little to do with investing, but they have everything to do with the client. Because it's not about the number of Benjamins in your pocket. It's about, are the Benjamins deployed in a manner which allows you the opportunity to do that which you want to do with them? And therein lies the difference. So if we define the industry differently, then the world is possible. If we define it as how it's always been defined, then you're probably like I was for about 25 years. A client going, well, I guess this is what they do. And I'm scheduled for my call in 3 months with whomever, or 6 months, and I guess I'll put that on my agenda and we'll have that conversation. Not very satisfying, but that's, frankly, if you've listened this far, that's the reality of it. So if you like this and you want to have a conversation, let's have a conversation. If you want to have an email exchange, because let's not, just in case, we can do that too. If you'd like to listen to more of my perspective, if you will, and a perspective on the market and a perspective on how to do what it is we do, which is different and beneficial for clients, subscribe to my channel. Thousands of people have, and I think it's very beneficial for them, and many of them actually take that big scary step of contacting me. So it's at the bottom of your screen. Let's have that conversation, because just because the world has been defined by whomever you're using today, and whether that whomever is you, doesn't mean that's the best process for you. There is a brighter tomorrow. Can't guarantee you returns, but I can guarantee you a completely different experience that you're going to look at and you're going to say, I'm glad I did that. So you know what to do.